Hello everyone, Johnny Manda here, and today we are continuing to learn Japanese with Pokémon FireRed. Last time we continued going around Cerulean City. We finished the Pokémon Center and Pokémon Mart. Check that as well. And yeah, then we started going around it outside for now. So yeah, today we'll start with that. Then we have some additional buildings to check. So I'm not sure if we'll do much, anything else beyond going around the city, but yeah, we'll see. We might technically start leaving it in a sense if we make it in time. Have doubts today, but we'll see. Yeah, without further ado, let's start. Moving around Pokemon in the box, getting the fossil, leaving one moon, so yeah, nothing new here. Arriving at Hanada City, as we've seen, Cerulean City. And yeah, last but not least, we saved here in front of this Slowbro that we heard of. It's the last thing we checked out last time. So yeah, we'll talk to the Slowbro first. Okay. Here it says Yadoran wa Sopo Muita. Okay, first and foremost, again, Yadoran, the Japanese name of Slowbro, but that we explained last time. We've also seen it in Pokemon Snap as a reminder. Then we have the topic particle where it has ha Soppo. Okay, let me check also the accent as usual. Yeah, Soppo is technically a compound. It means well, based on the kanji, and also then we'll check out the terms themselves. It's outside and direction. The one for way, direction, way, that we have mentioned before. I think also the one for outside in some words, but yeah. The so is soto. On its own, actually should be accented on the first more. So yeah, soto. Yeah, on its own, outside, exterior. The po after it is most certainly, considering the kanji, an abbreviation because it's actually short, a short vowel, an abbreviation of ho, direction, way, and so on. Side we've seen also in side in comparisons and so on. But yeah, here shortened for some reason. Yeah, the to of soto becomes then contracted into the small su, so the doubling of the following consonant. Yeah, we got this soppo. Accented on the first mora. So yeah, technically speaking, since the accent can stay on the tsu, we could also see it as the accent on the last mora of the first word, part of the compound. Could be, so yeah, because it can stay on the tsu, so then it would move on the so. Even in that case, so could be one of the spots which we have seen for the accent of words, accent, compounds of strictly Japanese origin. While ho technically is actually the Chinese reading, but yeah, would be a mixed compound. But yeah. So yeah, literally outside and direction way, it's then simply the other way. And yeah, here straight up where I also have the expression found here technically in the online dictionary. But yeah, after it we have the object particle O returns one, pronounced as such in careful speech and also singing. Muita, which comes from muku. I think we've actually studied this kanji because of no, actually I'm not completely sure. Let me look it. Let me check while we're at it. Okay. I'm giving it a look while. We have found that some terms with it for sure. One last time in the other current Let's Learn Japanese with series, I think I mentioned it accidentally when seeing another kanji, but because of the simplification of that due to the limitations of the Game Boy. But yeah, no, then realized what makes more sense. But I had the feeling that we... okay, we might not have checked it out, but yeah, we'll see it eventually. Regardless, this muku, we might have seen the term itself at the very least, and that's why I'm thinking of that. I think we might have seen it actually in Super Mario World. Because yeah, muku, no, okay, was correct, muku, because it's unaccented, to turn toward, to look up, down, and so on, to face in a direction of a building and so on, by extension. But yeah, so in this case, the fundamental meaning, so facing literally the other way. And yeah, so this expression means to turn away, to face away, to ignore. Yeah, by extension, yeah, in the sense to face away, to ignore. Or we could say also in this case to be uncooperative, to be but yeah, muku is a verb and verb, so we have to follow the rules to make that a form like here. It's in ku, so it becomes ita. Because originally we simply changed the U into I to make the contractive form mukita, but then the K fell, so only the I remained muita, still unaccented. The form on its own, yeah, simply past form of the verb in plain speech. So here it's saying, yeah, simply that, yeah, as for Slowbro, it turned away, it faced away. It ignored you. I think though. Okay, simply that. Oh yeah, let's see what the girl has to say. And yeah, I mentioned last time because the kid talked about the Slowbro being in the way here. Okay. First and foremost, she says, soon as, okay, this Yadoran, yeah, calling the Pokemon, Karani Komoru no, and then there's Slowbro with the question mark there. In the balloon. But yeah. First and foremost, we have Kara Actually, I don't remember the accent. We should have seen the term because this cara here, based on the context, first and foremost, is undoubtedly a noun. Well, we can say it without any hesitation because it's on its. We have the ni after it, but we don't have anything else before it. So it's not cara, the particle, the conjunction, and so on. It's a noun. This one should be the one for shell, husk. We should have seen it also in this very series because of the whole matter of, I think it was for the fossil that we got in a compound, I think it was as cara. Cara, actually it was correct, cara, accent on the last more. Has these meanings. Then we have the particle ni, in this case to, into, because of the following verb, komoru. Komoru means to shut oneself in. That's why we have the particle ni in that sense. Be confined in, to hide away, and so on. Other extended meanings, but no, this is the fundamental one. The accent is, you might, by the way, have heard it, if you have ever heard the term of hikikomori. It comes from a compound verb, including this term, but you might have guessed it also based on its meaning, if you ever heard of it. Komoru accented. Okay. Simply that. Then we have the last but not least, the final sentence particle no. Again, as here most certainly as the final sentence particle, female term or language. Emotional emphasis, quote unquote, says the online dictionary. So female term or language because it's a girl here. So I'd say that's the safest guess. So here she's saying, we could say it by adapting it in English, and that might actually be its name of this thing, because I suspect it's technically a move, retreat. We can keep it as a hideaway into your implied shell. This is what she's saying. I suspect it's technically a move. After that we can go back to the game itself, since then she says "an" as an exclamation, and then suspension dots "chigau." So first and foremost that "an," as I'd say simply an exclamation. And then after the suspension dots we have "chigau" with a longer vowel for the effect. We could say as the emphasis, or at the very least how this girl is speaking. Actually, you see that sometimes it shows up. The verb "chigau," I think it was an accented. We should have seen it also before. To differ, technically the fundamental meaning. An accented. To be different, then we could say, to differ technically is more correct in the sense that it's a verb, not an adjective. Be different, be distinct, be unlike, and so on. By extension, then also straight up to be wrong, be incorrect, mistaken. I suspect in this case, most likely consider the context. It's wrong. The meaning here. So nothing else to say. Here Slowbro is not collaborating. Last but not least, she's saying Pokémon te muzukashi wa. Pokémon, of course. Then we have double consonant te, particle we have seen before, most certainly also in this very series, which is the casual quoting particle. That can replace simply straight up to, which is the quoting particle. We could say still with, which is its other meaning, with and before it to the quotation. Also other bigger expressions, still including to wa, used to define something, and so on. To you know wa, similar. But here, actually I think in this case better it would be to you know wa or to wa, as it. So including the topic particle wa, because as for here it's in the sense as for Pokemon, more literal, most likely what's the thing, what the creatures, the things called Pokemon or something along those lines. So that's why I said to you know why especially. And then muzukashi, which is E adjective, which means difficult. This is the difficult, hard, and various similar meanings. This is the one used on its own. We have mentioned not one but two. One is the one used usually nowadays. The other one still shows up in certain expressions found after the conjugative form of verbs to say it's hard, it's difficult to do the action of that verb. No, this is the adjective used usually anywhere else. Muzukashi, accented. Last but not least, wa is the particle. This one undoubtedly is the female term or language final sentence particle. This one has a zero, zero. Technically, it has the usage that in Kansai dialect it indicates simply emphasis without the female term connotation, but not in this case. Emotion, quote unquote. But as for Pokemon, they are, or we could say implied, raising training Pokemon, quote unquote. Let's say simply as for Pokemon, they are difficult. It actually continues. I suspect she's about to say something about a mechanic. Pokemon ga yu koto kiku ka do ka wa. So we have Pokemon once more, the subject particle ga. Then we have you, already mentioned in the expression you, we have even studied kanji, means to say. After it we have koto, verb in attributive position. By the way, you, unaccented. We have already seen it in attributive position. In this case, let's say without the first part, because I think it's limited to this. Because it's not the Pokemon actually seeing saying something, but it's the trainer saying something. Cioè, here simply a verb in attributive position. If we add more, it will be a relative clause. And after it, we have koto, thing as in matter, a noun. Also straight up used as a denominalizer for verbs, one of the denominalizer for verbs, or also adjectives. After it, we have kiku. Kiku. The E barely heard if at all because it's between a voice consonants. Unaccented. To hear. To then also to listen to various extended meanings, but yeah, the fundamental one is to hear, to listen. After it, we have the particle ka, which we have seen it usually. It's the interrogative particle, and technically still is here. Because yeah, it's in the sense, but as an indirect question, and it doesn't stop here technically, because after it we have doka. Do is part of the ko, so do series as usual. Ko close to both the speaker and the listener, so far from the speaker close to the listener, far from both. Do the interrogative ko, so I usually an accent, do accent or do itself. With the additional u, which then simply becomes so the longer vowel for the o. O-u equal is long o in contemporary Japanese. But yeah, with the u we get way, as in this way, that way, how something is. Yeah, here with the interrogative, it means then do, we could say simply how. Due to its original meaning. But yeah, after it we have ka again. In this case, worth mentioning not that adding ka to an interrogative pronoun, because we have seen also that. Because yeah, in that case it would be somehow. You get the corresponding some word. So yeah, somehow, which makes sense considering that the interrogative particle. So some also in English means something that isn't determined, isn't specified. So you can see why by following that logic. But yeah, no, here it's actually an expression ka. Do ka means whether or not, if technically, but yeah, in this sense, yeah, whether or not. Literally, it is if it listens here with this verb, then implied an or if it's or how it is, cioè the do in that sense. But yeah, so this expression kadoka is whether or not. After it we have the topic particle wa, so yeah, is as for whether or not Pokémon listen to what to the things we could say koto said, or better here implied, yeah, that the trainer says. That way we can keep also the you which is in the present. Yeah, then she continues with hito no udemae shidai nanda mono. Yeah, first and foremost we have hito, where the event started is kanji person, unaccented. No, the possessive particle of a person, we could say in the singular, but as in general, of people. Yeah, as usual, while we can have ways to specify the plural in Japanese, words can already have be singular or plural anyway, usually. But yeah, here I'd say a person technically in the singular, but in the sense in general. After it we have udemae. I think we have seen the meaning of ude on its own, similar to this. This is a compound, is of strictly Japanese origin. Ude already on its own, accent on the last mora, it's a body part, the fundamental meaning arm, but by extension then also ability, skill, and so on. By adding mae, literally simply front, before, in front of, before, both in a physical, so in the locative and temporal sense. But yeah, here it simply adds, specifies that the meaning of ude is the extended one, as in ability, skill, not arm. Udemae becomes unaccented, so be careful, yeah, it's another one. We've seen that this is one of the accents that strictly Japanese compounds can have. Unfortunately, it's not as easy as in the case of Chinese compounds, where apart from some exceptions, usually we only have unaccented or accent on the first mora. The former more common, the second one less so, but still pretty common. But yeah, here we have three options, and honestly, it isn't as easy to guess in which cases one or the other. There are all the parts, technically all the tendencies of such compounds of all these kinds mentioned in the physical dictionaries I have, but yeah, becomes way too complex. Better to simplify it. But yeah, so yeah, ability. After it we have shidai. Shidai is a suffix. So actually, by the way, this one is worth getting the physical dictionary that I mentioned, so let me get it. Got the physical dictionary to check the accent when adding this suffix. As for its meaning, after a noun, like in this case, its fundamental meaning is depending on. There's another meaning that's can be the other. Well, actually, we'll see them when they show up, but it can also be used after the mass stem, so the continuative form of verbs, with other meanings. But yeah, so this here also based on the context, clearly as in depending on. Let me see if I can find it as a suffix though. For the accent. shidai on its own, technically, it's a Chinese compound, would be unaccented. Makes sense, as usual. Yeah, let me get to it. I was trying to look if it's present in the straight up suffix section at the end of the dictionary. No, I found another one that is not related, similar, but yeah, not voiced and changes meaning because it's a different kanji. Shidai. My guess, though, based on what I've seen of that one, I'd be the accent on the first mora of the suffix itself, since it's longer. But yeah, let's try to find it to see it properly. Ah, okay, yeah, found it. Yeah, when used as regardless that if it's after a noun or a verb, that simply changes the meanings, as we mentioned. Yeah, now for the accent is always accented on she of shidai. And yeah, makes sense, as we have seen. The bigger compounds, and technically this does apply. Well, bigger suffixes, I wanted to say. Yeah, then we apply the rules, the more general rules of compounds, especially the ones we have seen of Chinese origin. Usual accent on the first mora of the second word, part of the compound, so technically the suffix. So yeah, Aki is just like that. So yeah, Udemai Shidai. After it, though, shidai is technically a noun before becoming a suffix. By the way, the meaning of shidai, the fundamental one as a noun, would be order. Then we could say also program, precedence, extended means from those, but yeah, order, I'd say the fundamental one, also based on the kanji. So you can see then why it gets this meaning of depending depending on as a suffix. But yeah, after it being technically a noun still, we have Nanda. The na is actually required because it's of the following nda. Na, as a reminder, we have seen it in na adjectives, so-called na adjectives, more simply when talking about them in English, because they had na before, when you put them before a noun they modify. Then na, as we mentioned before, it's actually a contracted form of the classical copula nari, naru in that case, because it would be the attributive form of the verb of nari, naru. So considering that, then we can see why it's not. It does make sense to have that also in this case, even though here we have a noun. Yeah, it's required when we had no after, because yeah, it's technically a copula. And yeah, again, actually in attributive position would be the no here contracted as is the other nominalizer for verbs or adjectives, thing as in fact, and after it we have da, the copula used usually nowadays, the one in plain speech. Yeah, we've seen before this expression no da, nda here. It is that, the fact is that, the explanation is that, yeah, quite used in Japanese because of these meanings. Last but not least, we have after it Mono. Mono, we have even studied its kanji. Usually it means simply thing as in object. Various extended meanings. But yeah, when used here at the end of a sentence, and we can see here not typical, it kind of acts in a way like as if it were kind of like a final sentence particle, even though again it's simply the noun with already mentioned thing as in object. But yeah, its used is to emphasize emotion, judgment, and so on. After a verb in past tense, indicate a common occurrence in the past. That usage I think we have seen before. Or indicate a general tendency. Something that should happen. I think we have seen that as well before. I'd say in this case simply to as an emphasis for the judgment technically. So yeah, simply as emphasis for what she's saying here. So yeah, as for whether or not Pokemon follow, listen to the thing that is said, that implied the trainer says, it depends on a person's ability. So actually here she's mentioning the mechanic of Pokemon not listening to orders properly if they are beyond a certain level, depending on the badges you have. We should have seen it in part thanks to the previous badge. I think Brock did mention it. I might be wrong, but anyway, so yeah, we'll check these. Okay, so after that, yeah, we have also the buildings here. Those people we have already talked to. We can talk to this girl here. Who says, notice the shop she's in front of here. You can easily tell based on what's outside on the left. Watashi mo jitensha hoshii. Then continues, but yeah, let's check first that. Watashi, yeah, we have studied even its kanji now. First person singular pronoun. I, the fundamental one, slightly formal. Also, you considered also you good for as a for feminine usage. So yeah, as we have seen, because here notice that we have, as we see, it's in plain speech and also casual. So yeah, it's more in the sense of because she's a girl here. A boy would use the other the male term or language, first person singular pronoun boku or e even. So yeah, here she's using watashi more because of that, an accented. Mo, the inclusive particle, also even. Then we have jitensha. Jitensha is the term for bicycle. The ones we can see there on the left. So bike, technically, in the sense of bicycle. Literally, it's worth mentioning that why it's called jitensha in Japanese. First, we have a G10, which on its own is already a Chinese compound of two kanji, the usual ones. When I talk about Chinese compounds, the most common ones, usually we refer to the ones with two kanji. Here we have one of three. First, it comes from the one G10, two kanji, so unaccented as usual, unsurprisingly. Literally self-spinning, self-rotation, so it's rotation on an axis, technically, for astronaut. Or we could say, simply rotation, actually the better term for, in this case, rotation, technically under its own power, rotation. And then we had the Sha, which I suspect I'll find also set up as a suffix here in the dictionary. But Sha is the kanji for car, or we could say better, more in general, because not a car in this case, vehicle. Rotating, rotation vehicle. You can see then why it's the term for bicycle. Sha, the Chinese reading of the kanji for car, vehicle here. When added as a suffix, simply the accent is before Sha itself. So in this case can stay on the moral nasal, so it moves further back, so on the te, so the accent is Jiten Sha. After that she says Hoshi. Notice, it's spoken Japanese. It's casual here, technically, here we would have, after Jitensha, a particle. At the very least, ga would be the subject particle. Could then be further. We could technically use also the topic particle, which would replace ga instead with ga and o, the object particle. Wa replaces them. In the case of other particles, as we have seen actually, I think we have seen it today, it was something like an iwa. Even if we haven't seen, but you simply add the wa. Same for mo, by the way, same rule. So an implied ga. And after it, hoshi. Ai adjective. I think we might have seen it before elsewhere. I don't think in this very series. Wanting, desiring, wishing for, but it's a adjective, so we could say something is desired to be more with a translation closer to the Japanese. But it's because of that usually it would use the subject particle. There's something that's, it's actually a perfect, another perfect waga structure. Someone with the topic particle wa, something ga, hoshi. As for the someone, that something is desired, so that someone desires that something. It's worth mentioning, incidentally, that for what others desire, we're actually a third person technically. We have to slightly change hoshi. We don't use hoshi on its own, but we see it when it shows up. Here she's simply saying it herself. So I also want a bike, a bicycle. And then she says Makka na jitensha. Makka, a compound of strictly Japanese origin. The K at the end, I want to mention that first and foremost. It's from Aka, we have studied it. It's kanji thanks to this very series because it's found in the title, even though it's called Pokémon FireRed. We have seen it that on the title screen also, and so the icon would be the box art technically. There's also the kanji for Aka, red, because that's actually the name of the original game, Pokémon Red, simply. But yeah, here, before it we have Ma with the small Tsu, which we have seen that this Ma with then the doubling of the following consonant. So in this case, there's also the A of Aka gets dropped. But yeah, that Ma means on its own technically unaccented and without the small Tsu that gets added when we get these compounds. Just, right. Fundamentally, it as a noun would mean truth. And so yeah, then by extension from that, pure, genuine, true. By further extension, technically as in just, right. So in this case, yeah, it's... yeah, we could technically keep it as pure technically also. Pure red, so as in a bright red, deep red. Other extended meanings technically, but those don't interest us yet. No. Here she's talking about the color, clearly, simply. Makka becomes accented on the last mora, so technically it could be in the sense of, again, the accent on the first mora, which becomes ka because A gets dropped, as mentioned, of the second word part of the compound. Again, of strictly Japanese origin, so yeah. I think we have already seen in this, even just in this episode, 3 words, each one with a different kanji accent of these for these strictly, well, one mixed, the other ones are strictly Japanese compounds. So yeah, that's why unfortunately you simply have to eventually remember them. You can't simply follow the general tendencies. But yeah, I didn't mention that, yeah, it's an adjective that makes sense, but yeah, a na adjective specifically, and yeah, we can see it here because we have na. Because yeah, we put it before, it modifies in attributive position, jitensha once more, so yeah. A bright red bike. Okay, I'm curious if she says this as well in Pokemon Leaf Green, and potentially also the original Pokemon Green, or if it is bright red, and so bright red here, Makka, is specifically because we are playing FireRed, or it's always like that. Would be a cool little detail if it changed. But yeah, so yeah, by the way, being accent on the on Makka, by adding na, then we should hear the accent Makkana. Otherwise, it would sound the same as unaccented words. But yeah, so a red bike, red bicycle. Yeah, then says this, Sore de yogosu no iya dakara, ouchi ni kazaru wa. Yeah, first we have sore de, sore, that, the demonstrative pronoun, cioè that, and stops there. Could be those if it were plural, but I don't know, I'd say in this case it's that because it's actually that as in reference to what has been said before. After it we have the as the particle, or even better, let's say here is the te form of the copula. So So being that the case, we could say. And so it's actually used as a conjunction. So, therefore, and simply, and then. We're seeing it also with the additional topic particle. In that case, it becomes a straight up. We can keep technically as a so, then, also as a well, and so on. Yeah, so literally being that the case, what she said before. Then we have Yogosu, to connect simply the two. Yogosu, verb, and verb, of course, actually don't particularly need it, we don't conjugate it, means to soil, I'd say better technically, to make dirty, to stain, then also can be to pollute potentially, but yeah, the fundamental meaning is simply to make dirty. With the reading Yogosu, technically there's another reading Kegasu, but in that case it's actually with an extended meaning to disgrace, to dishonor. When we literally we mean making dirty physically, we use Yogosu. The accent is different. Yogosu unaccented, Kegasu accented. So be careful. Here we have Yogosu. Then after it we have no, as in simply denominalizer, so we have the fact of making it dirty, soiling it. After it we have iya, an adjective, accent on the last more should be, we should have seen it before, pretty sure, maybe even in this very series, disliking, then also from that not wanting, unwilling, reluctant, unpleasant, by extension, disgusting, and so on. In this case, so simple as in disliking, not wanting better, I'd say. Being an adjective after, we have then the copula da. Da in this case because after it we have kara. Kara used here as the conjunction, and so with the meaning because. As we mentioned, technically, the origin, funny enough, of kara, both the particle, which means from, and the conjunction, which means because, kara comes from a noun, which means origin, source, we could say. So because of that, it has those two meanings, two usages. After it, we have ouchi. We have definitely seen the term uchi before. Here with the honorific prefix o, it's still the same. And even more so considering that additional the honorific prefix, it's not uchi, which is still related. It has the same accent, not the same kanji. The kanji differs, and so you can tell also based on that when using kanji. That one, which is the fundamental, the original meaning for sure, it means inside, within, among, and so on. So, unsurprisingly, became also a word, the word for one's house. There's another word of strictly Japanese origin for house in general. This one, one's house, one's home. By extension, also one's family, one's household. Already an accent, so we don't have to worry about changes by adding the honorific prefix. Usually we have seen so far, might always be the case, that when it changes the accent, it makes words unaccented. But yeah, here I think it stays like that. I can look it up quickly if it shows up in the physical dictionary, but I don't think there should be issues. Might not be even shown because of this very reason. Since I have it here, makes sense to check. Uchi. Okay, got to the part of the picture with it. Okay, interestingly. Okay, interesting enough, when adding someone's the honorific, the possessive particle before uchi, according to the dictionary, it becomes accent on the last mora, despite its origin. So actually including the demonstrative adjective ano shows here, so yeah, also kono, sono. Makes sense, is those come clearly from the possessive particle anyway. And also with a name of a person, like here, Ani, older brother, no Uchiie. But yeah, good thing I checked for that, honestly. Yeah, unsurprisingly, the honorific prefix isn't shown, on the other hand. At that, I'm not surprised. Then we have the particle ni. Here, I'd say required by the following verb. We'll see then its meaning based on that. Kazaru, I think actually unaccented, but we'll check. Its fundamental meaning is to decorate. Yeah, an accent, Kazaru. By extension, also to display, to exhibit. Yeah, actually, I think it's in this sense here. To display, technically, at. Although I suspect more often than not it might be, as in, also because of the technically of the content, because you would, if for example, if you put something on a wall, can be used also in that sense. Yeah, we could say also at, but yeah, it's required then the ni, and these are some, because of this verb. Yeah, last but not least, the final sentence particle y again, because she's a girl. Yeah, so she's saying here, so because I don't want it's not good dirtying it, making it dirty, I display it at my house. One's house, so yeah, as in this case, my house. So yeah, actually she wants a bike. Yeah, because then it's not. She doesn't want to make it to soil it. Yeah, she would actually keep it only just to display it. Okay. Oh yeah. Okay, honestly, considering that we talked about this, I'm thinking that after our usual break, we'll take it now around 2-3 minutes as usual. We actually check the bike shop, the bicycle shop, while we are at it. So yeah, see you then. Say, but actually, it doesn't particularly matter actually. don't have strictly progress to save. I guess see you in after the break. And we are back. Yeah, so we can continue by checking, as mentioned, the bicycle shop here. First and foremost, the sign, which says Kusamura mo, Dokutsu mo, Sui Sui. And then, after the suspension dots, technically, Mirakuru, Saikuru. In order, first and foremost, we have Kusamura, which we've actually seen before for sure, thanks to this very series. It's the term used for technically the tall grass in Pokemon games. I'm pretty sure we have seen, because Kusamura is a compound noun from Ksa, with the U barely heard it at all, because it's between a voice consonants. The accent is accented, so then on the Sa. Means grass on its own already. Mura, in this case, would be the should be accented still on the last mora, like the term for village, which is definitely still related, because Mura, the one which would be used technically, usually nowadays not, even when written with kanji, but it can be used technically, means gathering, literally grass gathering. You can see then why it means the grass, grassy place, and as says the online dictionary, especially with long, dense grass. So yeah, it's actually perfect for the tall grass in Pokemon games. That's why they called it the tall grass. Then we have the inclusive particle mo, also. Actually, in this case, as we see, there's another one, mo, when we have two. It's as in both one and the other. Wonder if I can find it. I think I'll have to find it under. It's mentioned there as an usage of the particle mo also in the online dictionary. A, mo, as in a something. B, a second term, mo. Yeah, in English, actually, we have both A and B. A as well as B. In negative sentences, of course, it actually becomes neither A nor B. Yeah, simply in Japanese, we apply the meaning of the meaning that it has in the positive, and then it's a verb that is negative. It's way easier. Yeah, it's. I wanted to mention incidentally that in other languages like Italian, my mother tongue, we have sia, for example. So actually, we could use that, and it's closer to Japanese that uses mo twice. I don't remember in other languages, which I should have. I'm pretty sure I've seen in other languages as well. But, oh well. But yeah, it's in the sense here, so yeah, both. After it, we have dokutsu. Yeah, we have already seen it. Especially thanks to the Mount Moon in this very series. Cave. Chinese compound, so should be unaccented. It is. Last but not least, in the first part here it says then sui sui. Yeah, it's you might have guessed by the sound and repeated. Yeah, it's an onomatopoeia as usual. Being one of these with repetition, these are usually, more often than not, we have seen at least one exception, but yeah, no, more. Usually these follow the rules, so quite useful to remember. Accent on the first mora, so yeah, sui sui. And yeah, you can see based on the sound already how its meaning is lightly and smoothly movements. Swiftly, notice that it's actually sui. The sui or swift is also technically similar to sui. Could be also used as a mnemonic, glidingly. By extension, by the way, also as in smoothly, progressing or solving easily. By extension from that swiftly in a physical sense. Yeah, then at the end we simply have Mirakuru Saikuru. The name of the shop comes from English Mirakuru. Funny enough, for sure it was in the Italian version that I had seen, and I guess unless they adapted it like that in Italian for some reason, but no, I think it was straight up. I guess also in the English version then in Arrow there's the whole matter of that Mirakuru. Mirakuru, yeah, comes from miracle. Accent on the first mora, like in English, lucky. And then we have a Saikuru, cycle. We'll check its accent though. Hopefully also accented, yeah, accented like in English. Cycle, so yeah, on the sa. My guess would be that being a compound, yeah, here, by the way, notice that a small dot in between the two words, yeah, it becomes kind of like a space, but one that here also connects two words of English origin. We could say kind of like a hyphen in a sense, even though it could also be seen technically also as a space in other contexts, but the usage is kind of like that. And even more so considering that this should be technically a compound in a sense. As you have seen, usually we keep only the accent of the second word in these cases. Cioè, Mirakuru Saikuru Oh yeah, here so it says, yeah, implied the verb go, or speed through technically, swiftly, the sui, lightly and smoothly, both tall grass, the samurai we've already mentioned, and caves. Oh yeah, the name of the shop, most certainly. Miracle Cycle. So yeah, we now enter it. Ah yeah, we have some NPCs here. Yeah, we'll talk to them, starting with this kid here. Who says, この店の自転車、物はいいけど高いよ。And yeah, we'll see how much that's true. But yeah, first and foremost, we have Kono, yeah, part of the Kosodo series, as already mentioned with that Ano when I explained the change of Uchi, the demonstrative adjective. So these, yeah, singular in this case because after it, this something, yeah, that something is mise, which means shop. Then we have the possessive particle, the actual possessive particle. No. So yeah, of this shop. Ooh, nice Nintendo World Championship. We definitely consider checking that out, by the way, eventually for the channel, but yeah, we'll see. Accent on the last more, mi say. Technically not in this case, I'd say, because of the following possessive particle no. As we have seen, that's usually the rule for that. There are some exceptions, especially in compounds. But yeah. Jitensha once more. Bicycles, I'd say in general. Then we have mono. Mono is the usual thing. Yeah, it's in this case, of course, as in object. Well, technically from that, it's one of the extended meanings of mono. From thing as in object, we get also quality. We could say because actually mono thing as in object, but also substance, one of its first meanings. Yeah, from substance, by extension, we get quality. Then we have the topic particle wa. I, yeah, the adjective, which means good. Or whatever other meaning you want from the fundamental one is simply good. Kedo, the conjunction which means but. And yeah, in this case I'd say actually straight up but. Because after that it says takai. Takai is a adjective which means high. So yeah, also tall. But yeah, by extension also as in high priced, so expensive. Last but not least, the final sentence particle yo, you know, certainty or emphasis. Yeah. So it's saying here that technically after that jitensha, we could have a topic particle wa, but I guess it's in this case it avoids it. In part because it's spoken Japanese anyway, and also because we have the wa applied to mono here. But yeah, the bicycles of this shop. As for their quality, there's it's good, but they are expensive. So yeah. yeah, we'll see how true that is in a second. Well, in a second, when we talk to the clerk there. And yeah, last but not least, it says Boku ni wa kaenai ne. And yeah, first and foremost with Boku, yeah, we'll get an example here of a boy here, yeah, using Boku, and that's why the girl outside used Watashi. Boku accent on the first mora, yeah, with more language as usual. Then we have the particle ni. Technically could say bye in a sense. It's not the most typical usage here, but it would make sense in translation. Or simply as for to me, but yeah, no, better bye technically here than the topic particle wa. And then we have kaenai from kau, yeah, most certainly. The one which means to buy unaccented. There is also the one accented on the first mora, which means accented, so yeah, on the ka, which means to keep a pet, and not our case here. To buy, u verb gone verb, so we can change the u into e, and another u we can see here because of further conjugation, to make the potential form of the verb. So can buy. But yeah, potential form of verbs are ru verbs, and verbs, so we can drop the ru. To make the irrealis not the state form, the negative base, we could simply call it nowadays. And yeah, because after it we had nai, the adjective which means non-existent, and also used to make the negative form of verbs in plain speech. So yeah, cannot buy. After it, last but not least, we have the final sentence particle ne. Technically, we could still translate it as you know. And that's why actually the online dictionary mentioned you know as the meaning, as a translation for ne instead of yo. But with the ne here would be the ne is the particle. Its fundamental usage is we have seen it like right, isn't it in English. So yeah, once they want, the speaker wants the listener to agree with them. In this case, yeah, it's still kind of like in that sense. In the sense that, yeah, they want to share, they want sympathy in this, I'd say in this case, so yeah, I can't buy it. But yeah, while yo, on the other hand, yeah, adds that certainty, emphasis. Yeah, adds that aspect. Yeah, more often than not, in practice, I translated yo as you know for that reason. Yeah. So yeah, here is saying, yeah, I can't buy it. As for me, I can't buy it. Oh yeah. Let's see what this woman says then. Who says, first and foremost, un. Yeah, an interjection. You see it. Well, actually, I can mention it already. When we have this un with even more, so let's say, because here with the longer vowel straight up written with the long vowel mark. Because when written with the u and a second u in kana, I'd say in that case it's more actually a no, to contrast it with un, un short vowel. Yes, a more casual way to say yes in Japanese. Un, with also this un, with this tone, this intonation. No, usually again written with u, yeah, in this case, actually, it's the first meaning mentioned for this in the online dictionary, which is more like a well. And yeah, usually that one written with simply the long vowel mark, as you can see here. Then she says, Yappari, Mamachari Kashira. First and foremost, we have Yappari, which we have seen before for sure. Don't remember if he's also in this very series, I think so. Which is actually the original form of this adverb. Also, the other form, Yahari, actually comes from overcorrecting the forms here, Yappari. Yeah, this is the original one. Regardless, it means as expected, sure enough, and so on. Then we have, by the way, accented on the pa. Yeah, despite being in ri, in this case, it should be technically a compound. Also based on, it uses kanji technically, nowadays usually not. Although it could technically still be strictly speaking, technically an onomatopoeia, one of those in ri. Would make sense considering also the accent, because yeah, the accent regardless is before ri itself. So honestly, it's more convenient to remember it that way, regardless. Yeah, after that we have Mamachari. Yeah, Mamachari is a colloquial term. The mama at the start, it's a compound technically. Mama, yeah, it's straight up simply mama. Found also in English. Accent on the first more as usual, like in English. But yeah, the second term, tsari, is technically an abbreviation of the term tsarinko. Tsarinko, unaccented, yeah, is a colloquial term for bicycle. Not sure why. Maybe I can find it in Wiktionary. Let's see if I can find it there. The origin. Yeah, no, straight up actually unknown. There are possible origins mentioned. Yeah, my first guess would have been as well tsarin as an onomatopoeia. Yeah. Based on the sound, I could tell you myself that yeah, it's with a chink, technically says, of metal. So in the sense of the sound of a bicycle bell, and then ko as simply the suffix, as a suffix. Ko, where we studied this kanji on its own, means child. Can be used technically here as a suffix, simply as a diminutive in this case, so not a literal child, but yeah, in a diminutive sense. I wonder if I find its accent when used as a suffix, by the way. No, not there, unfortunately. And anyway, in this case, the word becomes an accent regardless. Apparently, actually, could be a borrowing from Jeju. Charyungo. Which paradoxically, actually, that as well would still derive from the Hancha term. Yeah, it's the kanji of jitensha, which in standard Korean, and that one I could have told you myself because that I know. Jajongo. Actually, I think Jajonko, because of the rule of Korean, but it's not shown. No, okay, Jajongo, without that. Yeah, by the way, Jajongo, you can hear how more similar it is to Jitensha. But yeah, so funny enough, could if that's second origin is true, would be the term passed to Korean from Japanese, and then got some changes, even more so in Jeju, and from that then came back as Charinko. Could make possible. But yeah, at the same time, Charinko already could make sense also with the strictly Japanese origin combining. Yeah, and onomatopoeia, we have seen how much Japanese love onomatopoeias with then the suffix ko, another thing quite used. But yeah, from that, yeah, contracted Mamachari. So yeah, as you might have guessed, yeah, a mama bicycle, in the sense, yeah, of a lady's bicycle, especially one with a front basket. Granny bike, quote unquote, as mentioned by the online dictionary as the second translation. But yeah, after it we have Kashira, last but not least. Kashira is a particle, technically. Yeah, actually, its origin, well, first and foremost, actually, let's start with the usage. It's female thermal language, so that's why she's using it. Yeah, she's a lady. The meaning is the fundamental one. I wonder, do you think, how about, and so on. By extension, also some kind, somehow, somewhere, indicates imprecision, the extended meaning. The origin, even more so seeing than that other form mentioned by the online dictionary, Kashira. Yeah, we have Ka, which even without that, you could easily guess it's the interrogative particle once more. The Shira most likely is simply from Shiru to know, verb go and verb, so we can change the U into A to make the negative base. And yet that at the end in the other alternative form would then be the negative auxiliary added to make the negative form. So literally, I don't know if the K technica is in if and before it the indirect question. So yeah, simply from that seems to be the origin. But yeah, regardless, the usage as a particle Kashira is female thermal language with that meaning. Yeah, you might remember actually we've seen a similar meaning for I wonder and so on, simply with kana as a particle, a compound particle with ka, and then na. But yeah. So yeah, she's singing. After all, I wonder if I should get a lady's bicycle. Because yeah, after that she says, mountain bike ni kaimono no kaimono kago ni awanai mon. Yeah, first and foremost, mountain bike. Yeah, straight off the term from English. We check the accent of all its parts. Don't remember if we have seen Baiku before on its own. But yeah, mountain. Okay. Kind of unexpected. The accent mentioned there on the in the plugin. Wonder if I find it also in the physical dictionary to confirm it. Might be there be alternatives. Is on the U of mountain. So it would be not like in English. And also a U doesn't become a diphthong in this case. In other cases we have seen that vowels can become considered diphthongs for the sake of the accent and so on in Japanese. But yeah, let me look it up in the physical dictionary since I already have it here, just to be sure. Would make sense though, the accent there, because it would be on the fourth to last mora, which is actually a pretty good spot, quite preferred spot for the accent of words in Japanese when adding an accent, when of course they don't have their usual accent traditionally, because of the various origins we have mentioned and so on. But yeah, when they have to put an accent to something, that I would say in this case it's also for convenience, yeah, it would be on the fourth to last mora. Yeah, after it we have baiku, bike, lucky accent like in English, that we might have seen before. But yeah, regardless of the accent of mountain, which isn't mentioned in the physical dictionary because it mentions mountain bike already, and yeah, unsurprisingly, it's a compound, considered a compound, despite the space they added here in game, because again, to facilitate it for the poor Japanese kids that were supposed to play this game, yeah, of course, to make it easier for them. Especially with these English terms, yeah, also in general, we have the spaces since we are writing without kanji. But yeah, it's considered a compound, and yeah, we keep the accent only of the second word part of the compound, as usual. Usually is the case, as already mentioned. So yeah, mountain bike. Then we have the particle ni, to. After it we have kaimo no kago. Wonder if I find it as is. If we can find it, I can show you. Anyway, it's okay. I found it, by the way. Unsurprisingly, because yeah, literally we have it's a bigger compound. We start from kaimono, which is already a compound of its own. From kau, yeah, again kau to buy. By changing the u into i, we make the conjugative form, and so the corresponding noun, buying. Also then shopping. In this case, after it, we add also mono. And yes, simply think as an object already mentioned. Cioè, shopping can be simply kaimono. Instead of using just kai, more literally would be purchased goods, but yeah, can also be used for shopping. Can also be turned into a verb by adding suru, to do, cioè to do shopping. But yeah, after it, in this case, kaimono, by the way, actually unaccented, so be careful. Yeah, a compound of strictly Japanese origin, another one unaccented here. Yeah, here then we add also kago, which on its own, we might have seen it before, I don't remember that though. Kago means basket. For example, for shopping and so on, like in our case here. Can also mean straight up cage by extension, but yeah, no. The final meaning is actually a basket, technically, for this one. Immediately another term comes for more specifically cage, as in the classical cage. But yeah, we'll see it when it shows up. I wanted to see if I can find it in the physical dictionary for the access, because it's not mentioned of the global compound here. Kago on its own, unaccented. But yeah, so literally, yeah, it's kaimono kago means shopping basket. Yeah, so pretty easy. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, found it. Perfect. And yeah, actually, by the way, yeah, another one that this bigger compound becomes accented on the first, on the last mora of the first word part of the compound. So yeah, on the no of kaimono. And so yeah, before kago. Yeah, another one of these, and yeah, again, it isn't. I have the suspicion, even though I think we have already seen exceptions, even when mentioning it, even in that case, that it might depend also on the length of the strictly Japanese compound. And or of the second part, but yeah, still anyway, not as clear, I'd say, anyway. But yeah, so the shopping basket, particle ni. Actually no, not the particle, and notice it here. Without the kanji, it can be told, because actually there's the space after the kago. The particle would be attached to it. So yeah, no, this one is actually attached to the verb, and yeah, it's actually the compound verb niau. Yeah, makes sense, because an additional ni doesn't make sense. That we had the one above for mountain bike. Niau is a compound verb, as already mentioned, from niru. We check its accent, which means to resemble on its own, to look like, and so on. Unaccented, okay, niru. Ru verb is some verb, so yeah, we can simply drop the ru to make the conjugative form, and so technically the corresponding noun. But yeah, no, in this case, the conjugative form is simply required to then attach the second verb part of the compound. Au. We should have mentioned before that, and we should have, funny enough, met it before. Au with a different kanji can mean to meet, and still uses the particle ni, by the way. When the one you meet is marked with the particle ni, even in that case. In this case, though, confirmed, because it's it has ni of nia, of it's this compound with an E before it, but also could have been guessed based on the context. It's the other au, or certainly still related, which means to come together, to merge, to unite. You can see then why we have the other one with the different kanji, which means to meet, which is still related, to come together. By extension also to fit, to match, and so on. And yeah, in this case with that to resemble first and then this to fit, to match, yeah, it's to suit, to match, and so on. Au, and so also niao, au on its own accented. Luckily also in this case, it's not one of the exceptions there. We keep the accent of the second word part of the compound. Niao, verb go and verb. So we can change the u into a. Here it becomes wa again because it ends straight up with the kana u. Originally was actually pu, so written as fu in historical kana. So it by changing the u into a we got pa. The p being in between the word became w. Wa, we, u, that is simply dropped. U anyway was too close to u anyway. We, wo. Nowadays usually we only keep wa. As a reminder, that's also the reason why the particle, they kept it in that case also written in historical kana for the particle wa. It's written as ha because yeah, that's it. Actually its origin as a pa. But yeah, here it got then simply changed, and you simply have to remember it's written straight up as wa with the kana of wa, but the origin is that one. Yeah, so we change u into a, becomes wa for the reason, to make again the negative base, and yeah, we simply add nai after it. And yeah, last but not least, we have mon once more, contracted here instead of mono. But yeah, it's that usage of mono at the end of a sentence. To emphasize, I'd say, yeah, the judgment, I'd say in this case, yeah, in the sense, yeah, she's explaining the reasoning here. So yeah, she's saying that it doesn't suit, well, the shopping basket doesn't suit, doesn't match with the mountain bike. So yeah, she's saying that. Okay, with that we have finished checking that. We can talk to the owner of the shop here. The clerk, but yeah, yeah. Notice on top, in the top left again, our pocket money, the money we have. But yeah, okozukai is the term for allowance, pocket money. Yeah, no, I wanted to mention that. Look at how much money we have, and of course how much actually a bike will cost. Yeah, first it says actually hi, irashai. Actually, yeah, we have a hi, said twice. Hi means yes on its own. The fundamental way to say yes. Yeah, he repeated twice. So technically, yeah. Here more as in a yeah, simply as a emphatic as in a yes. And then yeah, we have irashai. You might have heard also that irashai is technically a contraction. You might have heard the extended form also before. We have definitely mentioned it at least once. Or in general, we have mentioned for sure that these contractions in irashaimase, which simply comes from the verb irasharu. Irasharu is a honorific, more specifically respectful language. Irasharu can actually have several meanings. To come, to go. With this, in the honorific, there is no distinction between the two. Also to be, the one used with people, so actually instead of iru, not aru. The one used, that one for inanimate things, so objects and so on. Irasharu, verb, and verb. So to make the conjunctive form, we change the U into I. Here there's this change, which we have seen applies actually to not just this, but also other honorific verbs. And we change the U into I as usual, irashari, but then the R fails, only the I remains because of that. Continuative form, because we would then add masse from mass. Mass is the auxiliary verb used to make the polite form of verbs. I changed the U into E. Yeah, most certainly the origin here similar to U verb golden verbs to make the imperative form, but yeah, in polite speech, the mass, and then straight up with the honorific irasharu. Irasharu, by the way, yeah, accented. Should be. I actually can see it there, but I think we had looked it up. I look it up again, since I have again the dictionary, the physical dictionary ready already here. Yeah, irasharu accented. I'm pretty sure we have checked it before. Yeah, so here irashai, or the extended form irashaimase, regardless, yes, means please. We could add technically in English, because again it's polite, it's an honorific verb. But yeah, please come. It's used here as this expression for welcome technically. Yeah, used in shops, restaurants, and so on. Yeah, you might have heard it because of that. Then he says, Koko wa Mirakuru Jitensha ya? Okay, interesting. Yeah, first and foremost, we have Koko. With the ko, we get this place, so they are simply then here, unaccented as usual for the words with ko. The topic part ko wa Mirakuru Jitensha. Here then we have seen Mirakuru Jitensha outside the name of the shop. After it though, here we have ya. Yeah, actually it should be simply the ya, used as a suffix for shops. Yeah, we've seen when used on its own the term for shop mise. Yeah, now when added as a suffix, we use this ya. Yeah, panya is shown there with by the online dictionary. So many Honya library and so on. Unfortunately, I'm not sure if there is a straight up rule for adding ya as a suffix, because of panya, I've just verified with the online dictionary that it's accented on the pa of pan. Pan, of course, actually from bread, actually this one from Portuguese technically, pau, nasal, so yeah, pau. That's why we have the pa and then actually the nasal, the moral nasal in Japanese. Like we've seen for botan, the term for button, we've seen botao, we've seen a lot, of course, because we are talking about video games. But yeah, when we have ya, okay, yeah, I see a lot. Seems like it depends on the usage. For some shops, okay, not that one is not related anyway. Not the one that interests us. Not that one either. Okay, the one for shops. Yeah, it can be either an accented or accent before ya. And yeah, unfortunately, I think you have simply to know which one is which based on the term. Not sure which one would be preferred for a term like this that is made up. Maybe the unaccented one because it's more convenient, but yeah, I'm not sure. I guess he's saying is here simply, so yeah, as for here, implied it's with the copula technical simply da or da, well, des in this case because the polite form. It's the miracle jitensh, miracle bike, bicycle shop. And yeah, already we can see it there. Wow, it's wild. Yeah, first let's see what he's saying. Horidashi mono aru yo. And yeah, first and foremost we have this horidashi mono. It's funny enough. Let me check it out. Yeah, I had the suspicion. I haven't heard it as much myself, to be completely honest. But based on the meanings of the parts and also the context, I had no doubt that it would be technically a term for bargain. More specifically, it's a compound from horidashi, from horidasu, a compound verb. Horu, first and foremost, to dig. Quite convenient that it's pronounced like that in Japanese, because if you add a long vowel, as I mentioned before, you will get horu. Horu would be how you would pronounce hole in Japanese. So it can be useful as a mnemonic. But yeah, regardless, accented. U verb con verb, we can change the U into I to make the continuative form. In this case, to attach the second verb part of the compound. Dasu, the usual kanji where we have instead this kanji to put out and so on. So yeah, when used as a second verb part of a compound verb, we can it simply adds the meaning out more often than not. And in this case, to dig out. So yeah, horidasu. Again, we change the dasu, also verb con verb, we change the u into I to make the continuative form. By the way, dasu accented, luckily horidasu also accented. Follows the accent of the second verb. But yeah, we change the u into I, continuative form. In this case, to attach then the final part of this compound, mono, and the usual mono for thing as in object. So yeah, lucky find, bargain, treasure trove, another meaning, which technically also is nice considering the meaning of literally to dig out of that verb. Cioè, thing that has been dug out thing, I guess, as something that someone has found. Technically, as as a bargain for in a shop. Yeah, no, clearly not, as you can tell based on that price. Yeah, it's wild. Saying expensive Takai was didn't make justice to it. But yeah, after it we have the Aru, to be as into exist of inanimate things, yeah, like objects in this case. Accented. So yeah, something that something literally exists. We can simply say there is, there are, then in translation. And yeah, last but not least, yo as the final sentence particle. And yeah, so there's a bargain, you know. And then says kateku. Notice also those longer vowels at the end, but yeah, it's straight up mimicking the emphasis given by this when this shopkeeper is speaking by making the final vowel longer. Horidashi mono aru yo, kateku. But yeah, kate comes from kau once more, and yeah, again it was to make that a form we have to follow the rules. Was originally pu, so we changed the u into i, capi, te, the i fell, cap te, difficult to pronounce, became simply double consonant te. The form required because then we had ku. This one most certainly a contraction of iku, where against this kanji means to go. So yeah, here literally do the action of the verb and then go. Yeah, simply that. So yeah, he's saying, yeah, will you buy it? Verbs in the present form in Japanese can also be used for a simple future. And yeah, and in Japanese literally, and then go. But yeah. And yeah, on top we can see that the options are jitensha, bicycle, for 1 million N. So actually, it should be as for the pronunciation, because we have 10,000 is the reference term. So yeah, then you have to add the number 10, the number 100, like usual, like for the lower numbers, to the 10,000 term, which is man. So in this case it would be being, we start from 10,000. We had one more, so Juman, yeah, 1 million would be Hyakuman N. 110,000 yen. Yeah, it's still a lot, despite we could say, even though that's far from the exact, the trick to get at least an idea, even though it's always then lower because it's less strong, the yen, compared to dollars, euros, pounds, and so on. The trick is still to simply put the dot, consider the put the dot, start with $1, I say dollar just for convenience, 100 yen, not 10. It's definitely less here, but yeah, considering that it would be here, yeah, still $10,000 for a bike, for a bicycle. Yeah, it's wild. absolutely wild, absolutely ridiculous. And yeah, the other option is Kawanai. Yeah, we change from K1 small, we change the win to I again, and then to negative base 2, then add die. Don't buy, don't buy. I'll try here to press first the option with for the bike, but of course, he says then if you choose that, Okyaku-san, first and foremost, yeah, we have this Okyaku-san comes from Kyaku, which means client. It's a term for client in Japanese, unaccented. Can also be used for guest, visitor, so yeah, customer and client, but yeah, in the case of shops, customer, client. With the honorific prefix O, also here, yeah, typical for this term, should still be an accent. Luckily, Yakyaku is an accent anyway on its own. And yeah, after it we add san here, also quite often straight up used with sama, which is even more, it's a straight up honorific sama. San is still polite technically, but yeah, no, not as formal. No. And unsurprising, yeah, san is the one usually used more in Japanese, but yeah, not in this case. Yeah, of course, after that it says okane ga tarimasen na, again the longer vowel at the end of this character. Yeah, first and foremost we have okane. We have even studied its kanji, and yeah, it's the kanji for we've seen for metal. Usually with the Chinese term can also be straight up gold, but yeah, also metal in general. But here by extension money, and yeah, the strictly Japanese term usually nowadays is used on its own for money. Kane unaccented, and yeah, with the honorific prefix here, remains unaccented, the one I'm sure. And also can see it there in the dictionary actually. Subject particle ga. And then tarimasen from tariru, verb which means to be sufficient, to be enough. Other extended means, but this is the fundamental one. An accent, okay, tariru. Ru verb is a verb, so we can drop the ru to make the conjugative form in this case. To then add masen. Masen is the form, the negative form of mass in the present form of the negative. Yeah, so it's more complex here, the origin technically, but notice that because of the se, but the n at the end is most certainly still a negative auxiliary anyway. But yeah, so to make the polite form of the verb in the negative in this case. And yeah, then the final sentence particle na, the one that unfortunately isn't as clear in its meaning, but yeah, here I'd say more as in it's we've seen it, its most typical usage on its own without the one that it shares with other particles. It's simply found in such exclamations like this one, for example. I'd say exclamations of various kinds in practice, but especially those of like a wow or a oo. But yeah, no, not in this case. But yeah, so he's saying, yeah, your money, your implied, but yeah, even more so with the honorific prefix, isn't enough After that, it says, I bet this is what it say if you say simply kawanai. Mata yoroshiku. Mata, we have even studied this kanji, even though nowadays it's not usually used. Again, also as in once more, by extension, once again, another time. Then we have yoroshiku. From yoroshi, technically. Yoroshi is accented, is an adjective. It's the honorific form of I, yoi. Its meaning is still good, okay, and so on. Here we drop the I and add ku to make the conjugative form of the adjective, we could say. Here most certainly simply as the corresponding adverb, the conjugative form of the forms in ku of I adjectives become adverbs, are also used as adverbs. The accent moves on the third last more, this is the usual rule, so yoroshiku. Most certainly actually here as technically an abbreviation of yoroshiku onegai shimasu. Let me look it up also potentially for the accent. Okay, like that I find it. Onegai shimasu comes from technically negao, which is a verb accented. To desire, to wish, to hope, and so on. And actually then by extension also to beg, to request, which is worth keeping in mind. We can change verb converb, we can change the U into I to make the conjugative form, and so the corresponding noun, desire, wish, hope, request. Here, actually, more than the corresponding noun, it's technically required. We make the conjugative form, put the honorific verb before it, add the verb suru to make one of the. It's one of the ways to make the humble form of verbs. So someone humbly makes a request, usually of some kind. Then suru, completely regular, we change its conjugative form is she, and then we simply add mas to make it honorific, the polite form. Yoroshiku onegai shimasu, literally, I humbly do a request of well, yoroshiku, its original meaning would be simply well. But it's then as a please, treat me favorably, or remember me, take care of, please do. All those things, but unsurprisingly. So most certainly a contraction of that. When you find a yoroshiku at the end like this, it's that. So in this case, please come again, right? The come. And last but not least, arigatou gozaimashita. We'll explain once more here the origin of arigatou, since we have actually found it in game this time. Comes from arigatai, a compound adjective technically, but it comes from the verb aru simply, to basically exist of inanimate things. Gatai is one of the forms of the I adjectives with the meaning difficult to do the action of the verb when added to conjugative forms of verbs. Katai technically becomes voice because it's a second word part of the compound of strictly Japanese origin that more often than not happens to those. The one used nowadays is more Nikui, but yeah, Gatai, also as Gatai, can be found in expression like this one, this fundamental one in Japanese. And yeah, as we have mentioned before, arigatai, accent, despite the accent of katai being an accent, so be careful. Literally something that's difficult to exist in the sense that it's something rare, and from that, by extension, something one should be grateful for. So yeah, the meaning of arigatai is grateful, thankful, and yeah, that's why arigato gozaimasu, arigato gozaimashita in this case, means, yeah, it's the way to say thank you in Japanese. We have some additional changes to do first. First, we drop the E to add Ku, arigata ku. Continuative form in this case required to then add gozaru. Gozaru is the honorific form of aru technically. It's a peculiar honorific, we won't focus on it now. Yeah, it's from aru. Notice again that gozaru, verb and verb, but its continuative form is I for the same reason as irasharu, as already mentioned, another example of that. And yeah, continuative form then to add mashita. Yeah, the past form of mas, and yeah, notice we simply change the U into I to then attach the ta, like it's in su, so there aren't contractions. Yeah, past form of the verb in polite speech. Last but not least, there's this change, which is why we have arigato instead of arigataku gozaimashita nowadays. The K fell of arigataku, arigatau, and then au, because of the evolution of the language, became o, long o. So yeah, that's why. Yeah, so simply says thank you. Let me quickly verify if state up says that, I guess so. If I choose kawanai, yeah, unsurprising, it says exactly that. Okay, we have checked the shop. So yeah, we'll quickly exit, but yeah, we'll immediately save the game and end it here. Oh yeah, so we can close the game. And yeah, so today we continue going around Cerulean City. Yeah, we didn't make much progress. Yeah, we still have some things to check in the city, but yeah. As you have seen, it was quite dense of things to mention, especially the shop itself, because yeah, we started going around simply outside once more. But since then we talked to the one that was talking about the bicycle, yeah, it made more sense to check out the bike shop today. Don't remember its name in English with its ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous price. But yeah, next time, which for this series on Expense should be on Friday, we'll continue going around Cerulean City. In between, we should have on Wednesday the other Let's Learn Japanese with series. The current one is Karu no Tame ni Kane wa Naru, The Frog for Whom the Bell Tolls. And yeah, see you next time.